we are going to go and look for opportunities to have Congress vote on rescissions and DOGE cuts. But we're also not going to take off the table unilateral moves that the president can do to spend less. And you see that working out its way right now, as last week we put forward the first pocket rescission since the 1970s. Interestingly, Jimmy Carter did it, Gerald Ford did it, the GAO. We're not big fans of GAO. They are a quasi-legislative independent entity, again, something that shouldn't exist. But we put that up last week, and we're having a debate on it. It does not need a vote in Congress to have that money at the end of the 45 days just evaporate. So it's very, very important.
White House Budget Chief Russ Vought speaking in Washington yesterday, defending the use of rescissions while blasting the Government Accountability Office. House appropriators have backed cutting the GAO's budget by more than 50% in the next fiscal year funding bill. Senate Republicans, meanwhile, signaling their dismay over President Trump's move to advance a $5 billion pocket rescission to avoid a government shutdown this month. Only 12 legislative days remain for Congress to act. Joining us now is Oklahoma Senator James Lankford. He is a member of the Senate Finance Committee. Senator, so you're introducing the Prevent Government Shutdown Act of 2025 today. I want to hear about that. But first, I want to get your reaction to what you and your colleagues seem to be dealing with right now, and that is this pushback on the rescission. Whether it is Senator Rounds, who says this is just going to give the Democrats an excuse to block legislation, derail the process. Shelley Moore Capito, she says this is, she's questioning the legality of the rescissions package. And then even Leader Thune, Majority Leader Thune, is saying that I want to cut foreign aid, but he says Congress should be handling the rescissions.
Yeah, well, we cut $9 billion out from a rescission just a few weeks ago, actually. It's the first time in 45 years that Congress has had a pullback on a rescission during the process that is separate from appropriations. In appropriations, there's always rescissions that happen. That's a typical part of it. But a separate vote on rescissions, first time in 45 years, so we did $9 billion. So there is some confusion to be able to say this is another $5 billion. Congress has been eager to be able to find ways to be able to cut back spending on this. We'd love to be able to have this $5 billion request come up for a vote in the House, the Senate, be able to push this through the way that is not controversial at all. Right now, there is this legal fight that's going to happen between multiple entities. Is legal? Is it not legal? We want to just say, hey, there's an easy way to do this. Let's actually vote on it like we did last month on $9 billion. Let's vote on this $5 billion and settle it.
So do you support the rescissions package first and foremost? And also, just to add something, okay, so the other thing is that Senator Schumer is saying, he says it's unlawful, not a surprise, but he says this is going to cause the government to shut down, this issue of the rescissions package.
Yeah, so trying to save money should not be something that causes the government to shut down. This should be something that's obvious on it. We have $37 trillion in total debt. We have $2 trillion in overspending just this year. We should be finding every way we can to be able to reduce spending. That is my main focus on this issue about ending government shutdowns. We need to have our budget fights, but we don't need to have it during a government shutdown. Government shutdowns literally spend more money and waste more money. Federal employees are all paid, though they're not working. They're at home. They're still paid anyway. There's all the costs of trying to shut it down, to be able to reopen it. It's disruptive to the American people that are trying to be able to call in and get answers to questions. Government shutdowns don't help us. They hurt us. But we need to have the fight about budgets. So let's keep the government open. My bill is very simple. It keeps the government open and functioning at the last year's budget level. It's called a continuing resolution. It maintains current level spending, but members of Congress are in session 7 days a week. We can't do bills other than appropriations. It basically locks us in our room to have the fight and keeps the rest of the family protected from the noise of it. So we've got to be able to have our arguments, get things resolved, but not hurt the American people. That's what I'm trying to accomplish.
Do you have the support for this bill? Do you have the votes?
We have overwhelming support among Republicans. We have several Democrats that have voiced support on it, but when it's come up in the last session, Democrats refused to support it. but every Republican in the Senate has been supportive of this. This year, it is actually being presented at the same time in the House and in the Senate. The House Budget Chairman, Jody Arrington, is actually sponsoring the bill in the House. I'm leading this bill in the Senate. We want to be able to take government shutdowns off the table forever, but still maintain the fight that we've got to be able to have on the budget issue.
All right, we're going to be watching that today, sir, and please come back and when you can give us an update on that. And also, Senate Republicans are considering these rule changes that would speed up confirmations of President Trump's executive and judicial nominees. There are more than 300 that remain unconfirmed by the Senate. And the Democrats seem to be really dragging out the voting process. Not seem to be, they are, Senator. So you're leading the effort to respond to this obstruction. Tell us what you can do, because we know that the president is frustrated that he does not have more of these picks moved through the Senate.
Yep, the American people are frustrated as well as the president on this. The president was elected. He needs to be able to get his staff confirmed on it. We've got many people that are in acting roles waiting for final confirmation. We need to get them final confirmation. It would take us 900 hours to be able to move through the nominees that we have just right now, not to mention the other nominees that are still coming for the rest of the year. We don't have 900 session hours still left in the rest of this year. We've got to be able to do this. What Democrats are doing right now is they're preventing what's called a voice vote. This is the typical way nominees are done, whether it's President Biden, whether it's the first Trump, whether it's President Obama, George W. Bush. If it's a lower level, what's called sub-cabinet officials, this is the deputy assistant secretary of whatever agency it may be, that go through the committee process, they get approval, they come to the floor with a voice vote. It takes seconds. We have 1,200 people to move through. You can't do a vote on every single one of those. Democrats are demanding a vote on every single person. This prevents us from getting to appropriations. This prevents us from getting the national defense authorization. They're trying to prevent us from doing any legislation by just throwing up all these roadblocks on nominations on it. So we got to fix this. And what I've said very clearly is Democrats are doing this right now to a Republican president. Republicans will do this to the next Democrat president, and that'll be just as unfair to the American people and to that duly elected president as well. So, yes, I'm bringing forward a proposal to be able to say we should be able to vote these en bloc as we used to do in the past, which was very normal, where we do 30, 40 at a time that have all gone through committee, been approved by committee. Get the vote done, get those moved out, and to be able to keep going. That way we can get on to the work on the budget work. We can get on to other things, and the president can have his team confirmed. Yeah, so we're working on trying to get that done this month.
And all of those nominees that are sitting there and waiting, it's a frustrating process for them as well. Senator, thank you so much for being here. And we are going to be following your work today in particular as we hopefully avoid a government shutdown for our country and our government. Sir, thank you so much for being here.
You bet. Good to see you again. All right.